Cool, awesome. Hey guys, so my name's Simon. I'm a front-end web developer. I work at Beamdog in the game studio. So what my talk's about is a static site generator called VuePress. Just as reference, how many of you guys have used like Vue.js or tinkered with it in the past? Awesome, that's a good amount. So the nice thing is you don't actually have to, even though it's by name, you don't have to use too much Vue.js, or you don't even know how to use the components in order to start using this as a good resource. So let's start. So what is VuePress? So it's a minimalistic static site generator with a Vue-powered theme engine plugin. So basically, it's kind of like a lot of static site generators are pretty popular in like Gatsby, Lemty2, Hugo, Jekyll. A lot of people have used them in the past. But VuePress has a really cool thing where the default theme is actually really good for writing like documentation of sorts. So it's basically composed of like the whole Jamstack phrase, which is using JavaScript, API, and Markdown to create a static site to host that could be hosted in several services. And it's written by the Vue core team. So they actually use this to write their whole documentation website. So if you don't know Vue.js, go look at your documentation website. It's really nice. Even if you've struggled with like learning with React or Angular in the past, the Vue documentation is really easy to get into, and I highly recommend it for most beginners. But let's go on to the VuePress stuff. So the way how VuePress works is each page is generated by VuePress and has home pre-rendered static HTML, and VuePress and CLI kind of takes it over and makes it into a single page app that you could host on any service. So it uses very basic tools like Vue Router and Webpack to create the single page service. And it's really easy to host on services that don't require a full-fledged server, like have any of you guys used Netlify or Surge or any of that stuff? Really nice tools of just hosting like static HTML websites. And a really nice thing is you can also incorporate your own CMS, whether it be the API of WordPress sites or an API like meetup websites, or you could use Git-based CMS like Netlify CMS. So like literally the only things that you have to use to get started on making your own VuePress website is all you need to do is be able to create markdown files, edit a config, and if you really want to, you could use the Vue components that you already have and start using them on the sites. So, like I said before, you do not need to know how to use Vue.js in order to start making a very simple documentation website of Vue.js. So another thing is like, unlike most static site generators like Gatsby and whatever, VuePress has a very built-in default theme. Like, it comes with a lot of things that like basically set you straight in order to create a full-fledged website. So like the Vue, as I'm going for the next one, so the default theme comes with your own customizable sidebar, a search box, and a nav bar. And the nav bar automatically searches all the headers in your markdowns. You can even use Algorithm search, the instant search stuff that's very easy to import. And if you don't find, and with the new update to VuePress 1.1, I'm pretty sure there's a default blog site. So if you don't like the default theme, there's like a regular theme and there's a blog theme. So you could also use this as a blog. And writing your own, and if you're very good at Vue.js stuff, writing your own theme is also pretty self-explanatory if you like the documentation. So I've been using like a VuePress project for a while, and I haven't really found a need to make my own plugins or themes because the ones provided are actually like good enough for what I need for a documentation website. But plugins are very simple. They're just basically global functionality to VuePress, and a lot of these are very simple to install. VuePress 1.0 comes with a bunch of plugins that you could easily install, which includes like a back to the top button. You see a lot of CMSs include Google Analytics, progressive web app support, and a few others. Like if you want like the notification progress on the very top of the nav, that's also included. And yeah, so let's go straight to the demo. So um, we do talk about like documentation websites, so I'm assuming most of you guys assume like a technical one, but it's not only just good for that, it's also good for like non-technical stuff. So as a reference for a demo, I run like these huge like video game Smash Bros tournaments, and I've been running them for a few years, and I've learned a lot, and I've also talked to a lot of organizers, but the problem is I'm too old to run more tournaments. And I have a full-time job, all those excuses that I give to everyone. And we've had like all communities, a lot of communities have a difficult time passing down information to new generations and stuff. And what the previous community leader did to me when I started like running events is he had this huge Google Doc. And the problem was no one knows where it is, and it's like 20 pages. I don't want to read that. It's brutal. And like as people know, like I actually don't know, and someone could correct me, but like for Google Docs, there's not too many like nice ways to read it on your phone and stuff. So I kind of looked into the VuePress stuff, and this is when it was like before 1.0, which is just recent. So it was like in the early stages, and I was like, oh, this is a cool thing. So let's just go to the code base just to show you of like, so a lot of these files aren't actually like really necessary, but if we just look at the package.json, all you need is the library, and it's for a dev, it's just VuePress dev docs, and you point into the folder that you're doing it. All that's needed so as you see, like I kind of structure my content based on topics, so like tournament organizing, and the markdowns, if any of you guys have ever touched like markdown files, this is nothing crazy of what you guys done in the past, especially if you've done like Confluence pages or.
Can you make that a little bit bigger?
Sorry.
Can you make that a little bit bigger? If possible?
Sure. How do I make this bigger? Pardon?
Control plus.
Control plus. Cool. Is that good? Awesome. So, like the markdown files are like pretty self-explanatory. The nice thing about the VuePress default theme is the search actually does collect all of the all of the headers that you use. So once we run the demo, I can show you how it works. But yeah, basically all of these are like searchable things that the person could put on the search bar and be like, oh, if I want to look up funding or if I want to look up checklist, then these will be the things that you search up. For the actual like configuration that I did, besides like the netlif ICMS stuff, I just added my images. I added a manifest.json, which is what you need for a progressive web app. And since the I could quickly show you what the VuePress website looks like, or the documentation website looks like. I always switch these up. The documentation website just generally looks like this. And if you notice, like they use like the whole green kind of look, and our group logo is like blue and orange. So the only change I had to do in order to make it so it looks blue and orange is I had to create my own index stylus, and I just put the colors I wanted, and I got the styling that I wanted. And the config file, which I used, which is actually the most time-consuming part of it, which is still not a lot, is where you put all the information of like what your nabs contain, the progressive web app stuff, what plugins you want to use. So if you notice here, I use at the top and progress, plugin containers, and that's all technically what you really need to use in order to config the VuePress website. And then all you have to start doing is you just create random markdown files, you put them in your folders, and you collect the documentation for the default theme, but it includes a lot of stuff to make it so you don't have to do too much. So if we just go to the one I'm running right now, let's just where is it? So generally, like without writing any HTML or CSS, or besides the style stuff I showed you, you get a website that looks just like this. If you click Get Started, it includes all the headers and a lot of the stuff. And The cool thing about using Vue components in this is since Markdown lets you use the front matter template stuff, which you could put like attributes like titles or certain things you want to include that are hidden from the stylings of the Markdown, you could use that as your array of data to give to Vue components. So if you want to style, if you want to like put a bunch of front matter stuff and then like visualize it with a Vue component, it's pretty easy. There's an example like that actually right here where I use it for, what did I use it for? Is it U of A timelines? Yes. So this is a Vue component I made, and in order to like feed it information like find 5 executives and deadlines and stuff, if we go back, if you look at my components library, I have a timeline Vue component, which if you've seen Vue component stuff before, you kind of notice the same template pattern and script pattern and styles. So if you have ever done any like React or Vue components, the obvious prop is like an events prop, and you pass it to component. And if you're wondering, oh, where does this get the events data from? If we go to the actual Markdown that's being read, if we go YG, timelines, we notice that there's some timelines Markdown that's being put right here, and we feed that information into the Vue component, and that's kind of like how we get it. Another cool example, and then as I was saying before, if I want to look up a header, like if my organizer wants to pay out his players or his volunteers, I look up payouts, and it leads me to these pages, and I have the Markdown includes like GitHub style tables. I made my own component of just how to calculate your own payments and stuff, right? And like, yeah, a lot of it's actually like fairly easy to do. And the nice thing is, like, I think I've been like doing this project for like a year, and I've definitely spent more time writing the content of this website than configuring it, which I feel is like a big plus for like a documentation like source of the website. And I did talk about like how the static site has to be like, you could build it to a static site and you could host it. But if you don't want to host information, it's very easy to just create like a separate folder, a separate folder in your personal project or your project, make a package.json and make a config, and then start making Markdown files. And whenever you pull the GitHub repo, you could easily have like an easy mini documentation stuff that you could go on your current project. So I think it's a really easy tool to use, and yeah, I would highly encourage it. So if we go back to the slides, some links to share. So there's the VuePress the documentation website. If you're interested in learning about more static site generators, there's Static Site Gen, which shows you like other ones and some that you're more familiar with or more popular, like Gatsby and Hugo. How do I get out of this? There's the Vue.js documentation website if you want to learn how to make your own Vue components, which, surprise, they use VuePress to make the whole documentation website. And if you want more inspiration of how to make your own custom themes and stuff, there's this really nice Vue gallery website, which has shown you really nice portfolios and all these cool things of what people have used of Vue.js, of VuePress. So yeah, like if another demo is like, for example, I have this hosted on Netlify, which supports like static sites and stuff like that. Oh wait, wrong one. And the nice thing is I could just give this to one of my volunteers. It's a progressive web app, so they could just download on their phone, so they could stop asking me for the URL. And yeah, it's like pretty easy to distribute. I'm using Netlify CMS in order to make other people besides my send to update the content. So then I don't have to do this, and they don't need any technical background. It's very simple how to use Netlify CMS, which is a completely separate topic and a larger topic in general. But to do the minimum, to do technical documentation websites and even like more broad community stuff, it's a pretty easy thing to use. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Any questions? Hey, sir.
Have you
Yeah.
Is that something that
Yeah, I just led them to like a GitHub page where it showed like the cheat sheet for Markdown, and the other volunteers and the other U of A students who had no technical background were able to like update it, and like it was very easy to communicate and stuff. Yeah, so like it was like a little bit of difficulty, but like I've tried like so many solutions in the past, whether it's like a Google Doc and sharing everyone, then that gets lost, and I've tried like a few other solutions because I've been part of the community for a while, and this one is the one I've seen the most like, oh, people are more optimistic about it. I sent it to the Calgary sister community too, and they loved it. They're like, yeah, we would totally like let our members use this. So yeah, I've had good results from it. Hey,
So I just want to understand this. It seems very similar to something like Gatsby.
yeah,
Is that
exactly.
kind of the Vue version
Yeah.
of it, or is
So
it
the thing is like VuePress doesn't include like the GraphQL like stuff because it's not really needed, right? You just want to be able to look up your Markdown files and like a search text kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a very minimalistic version. If you're interested in like an actual one-to-one thing for Gatsby for Vue, I think Grinsum is the thing you should be looking for, and that's pretty popular now too. So, but VuePress is like, I think like the niche for it is like it's really good for like technical documentation or like documentation of any sort without doing too much like styling. Any other questions? Cool. Yeah, I'm done. All right.